Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patty Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
My name is Molly Dieni.
My name is Lisa Hawkins.
I'm Adriana Latonio.
And we are Pipeline Vocal Project.
And you are listening to the Theater Podcast
with Alan Seals.
Woo! Now slow it down for me, baby. 'Cause I love the way it feels when we cry. Yeah, our connection's so magnetic on the floor. Nothing can stop us tonight.
Hey everyone, welcome to our brand new episode of the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals. That's me, I'm your host. And our episode today is with Lisa, Audrey, and Molly, three ladies who I had the pleasure of seeing perform a little while ago. They make up the professional a cappella group called Pipeline Vocal Project that was kind of born out of a necessity to be the change they wanted to see in the world. They get into that, which is an incredible story. And now, not even several years later, they are literally performing all over the world. They're teaching, they're doing cruise ships, they're headlining festivals. It's kind of insane the success they found just by doing what makes them happy. So a quick shout out to all my Patreon people. Of course, your constant support is what helps keep the podcast going. Find me online, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok, all the places. Leave a rating, leave a review wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast. Tell your neighbor that you have a good podcast they need to listen to. Help spread the word, help it grow. Now, everybody, please enjoy this episode with Lisa, Audrey, and Molly, aka Pipeline Vocal Project.
And all that blowfish blow under the sea, under the sea. When the sardine begin to cling the music to me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to nerd out in this episode. Our three guests make up an a cappella trio called Pipeline Vocal Project, Alaska's first professional vocal trio composed of a lead, bass, and vocal percussion. This all-female group puts a unique twist on well-known favorites from all eras, whether it's crossing decades or genres or, even Disney, which we'll get into. They are invited to perform all over the world, resulting in the creation of a trail of acca-nerds and viral videos, myself included. The acca-nerd, not the viral video part. They just released their second full-length album titled Silver, which accompanies their debut album titled Bronze. I noticed a theme there. Adriana Latonio, Molly Dieni, and Lisa Hawkins, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Bronze, Silver, your new album Bronze, new album Silver. First album was Bronze. Obviously, Gold has got to be next, but then what are you doing? Platinum and Diamond? Do you have the plan, the five album plan laid out?
I feel like the goal was just to get to gold, and we haven't really,
There's something strong about a trilogy, but we'll keep our options open.
Yeah.
Well, after you get the trilogy, then you got to tap J.J. Abrams to make it better and keep going past the trilogy.
Yeah.
Add a lot of lens flares.
It'll
be good.
Yeah, there you go. So you're joining us from Alaska, from Anchorage. And for those who don't know, I was first exposed to you on the Disney Wonder when I was there taking a cruise of my own. And then it got me thinking, it's just incredible how all of these groups come together and perform all over the world. And then was researching the group Pipeline Vocal Project, and I'm fascinated to dive into this. So I guess we'll start with the questions that probably you've been asked a million bazillion times, but where did the idea even come from? I think, Lisa, you started the group, right? So where did the idea even originate?
Well, like everyone else, I think I got exposed to a cappella in college and completely fell in love with it. And I was like, why isn't there a way to do this more professionally? So I started kind of auditioning for other groups. And so I worked for other groups for a while. And then, life just kind of brought me back to Alaska eventually. And my hometown just did not have a whole lot of contemporary vocal music happening in the community. And I was doing some workshops here and there in schools to kind of try to, cultivate that culture. But, me doing workshops by myself is clearly just not enough. It's too little, too slow. So I thought, what better way to do it than to create a group of my own? And, I wanted it to be a group of women and I wanted it to be small because of the nature of not having a whole lot of contemporary a cappella culture here. I thought, keeping it small would be the most realistic. And I went to Facebook, and I knew Audrey from we had the same voice coach when we were younger. And so we knew of each other, but we had never spoken or, really interacted much other than seeing each other compete in the same competition. So I reached out to her. She was on board. And then Facebook, I just kind of put out a PSA like, I'm looking for singers, needs this, and this. And then people started tagging each other. And long story short, that's how I found Molly.
Oh, interesting. All right. So I thought you and Molly had the same voice teacher, but you and Adriana. Okay, so Molly, interesting. All right, Molly. So then you're tagged in a Facebook post, and you're like, "Oh, cool. This is totally gonna like shape my life. This is my future." Or you're like, "Fine, I'll show up and see what's going on here."
I mean, I don't think we knew fully how it was going to go, but I was in Anchorage. I'd done a cappella at the local university a little bit, and I've always been singing, but vocal music, choir, that kind of thing. And so then I was tagged in this, and I sent in the silliest audition video ever. If I look back, it's so cringe. But luckily, Lisa did her own research and saw that I could actually sing. And so then we met up the first time we all sang together was in a parking garage. It was actually kind of sketch, but it sounded amazing. So we were like, okay, well let's see where this takes us. And 4 years later, here we are.
Okay. So it's 4 years ago, but so Adriana, when Lisa reached out, obviously you knew of each other, but Lisa reached out. Did you have one of these things where you thought it was something that was going to be serious or just kind of like a hobby thing? Because, I mean, we'll get into this, but you literally, all three of you are performing all over the world now.
Yeah, honestly, I had no exposure to acapella prior to Pipeline. And so it was kind of like, okay, maybe I can test this out and it'll be more of like a hobby thing because I was still in school at the time at the university. So yeah, at the time I was just like, let's try it because it has to do with singing and that's basically all I know. So
okay, I was reading too about you. You were a female top 10 in season 12 of American Idol, which I don't have. Okay, this is me showing my age and my ignorance, but I don't know what season we're in now, so I don't know how long ago season 12 was.
No, season 12 was 2012, 2013.
Okay, so we're talking about 10 years ago, right? So you were in school doing, and then at some point Idol, and then 4 years ago you start with PVP, Pipeline Vocal Project. I'll just call it PVP because I love that.
You got the lingo.
That's right. See, I'm not as old as I thought I was. PVP, right? And you guys are going out there, and I especially right now in the world of I was going to say the age of social media, right? But everyone can like just auto-tune their voice, and everyone can pick up a computer and orchestrate a full song without knowing much about music theory or whatever the case is, right? So the three of you together are like, let's do this at its rawest form, because you're not auto-tuning. You're like legitimately are blending and singing some of the best like solo lines that I've heard sung live at a very long time, just putting that out there anyway. But was there ever talk of like, maybe we should add a fourth member? Maybe we should add one instrument? Maybe we should do something like that?
I may, yes. Oh my gosh. Get in there.
So the parking garage meetup we told you about earlier, that was the first time all three of us had like been in the same room or even like really introduced to each other, to each other. And the first thing Molly says to me, so we get through introductions, hi, I'm Lisa, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, so how about adding a fourth? And I'm like, we haven't even sang a single note yet. Like, give me a chance here.
I just came in a little hot on that one. I didn't see the scope of the vision. And I like the a cappella group I was in college was like 20 people or something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm used to like such a bigger sound that I just didn't know how little I knew about how the professional a cappella groups worked and that three is enough. So yeah, it was Yeah,
It's a funny story now. It's funny.
At the time, I felt strongly with very little information. Just Lisa shut me down pretty quick. She's like, let's like sing a song or something before we decide that.
Well, so then, Lisa, when you're putting the group together, were you already into the percussion world anyway, the vocal percussion? Because that's I'm a baritone / percussionist, and to find I guess just to be good at it in the first place, but be like, that's what I want to do professionally. And aside the fact that you can fucking sing anyway, right? Like all three of you alone have amazing voices. And then Lisa, add on the percussion part as well. But I guess were you looking for specifically like, as Molly calls herself, the lady bass, right? Were you looking for the lady bass, knowing that Adriana was a soprano, or like, were you just kind of seeing what's out there and seeing who could sing and who wanted to do this?
Yeah, I think I was kind of looking for who wanted to sing and who could sing and who wanted to do this. I was looking for, a wide vocal range because of the nature of just only being three. Each person kind of has to be diverse in what they can do. But something I don't always talk about is that I actually didn't do any vocal percussion prior to Pipeline.
Really?
I was just a singer that wanted to do a cappella, but I also knew that if I wanted to create a group here in Anchorage, finding a vocal percussionist that was a woman, first of all, the chances were slim to none. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to teach myself how to do this. So the first time I actually beatboxed in front of anybody was our first gig.
Hey.
So I just kind of like speed taught myself. I had some friends in the acapella community that helped me out and kind of gave me some pointers. But yeah, I guess that's a story I don't always share.
That's really cool and highly respectable too, because I'm one of the same sort of ilk in that if it's not there and I want it, then like, why not just create it? And it's one of those things where in hindsight, right, if you knew how hard it was, you wouldn't have done it. But once you're in it, you got to continue, right?
Right. And I like it. I was always into rhythms more than I was pitches. So I think in the end, it kind of just worked out.
What's up, my pitches? Okay.
Now she's the one.
Well, then how do the three of you like choose what to sing and how to arrange it in the first place? And I guess, well, I'll stop there first, but I want to get into the Disney side of it as well, because obviously you want to sort of, I saw you on a Disney cruise, and then you want to bring in some Disney music, of which there is a plethora to choose from. But back to the original question then, how do you decide what you're singing and then what kind of arrangement you're going to do with it?
Well, I mean, I think picking music for a cappella, like anything else, song choice is so much more important than people give it credit for.
Absolutely.
So I think part of what we were doing at the beginning was testing a lot of different things and seeing what we liked and seeing what worked. The first show was actually a bit of a madhouse. So like basically, well, you should probably tell this one actually.
Okay. Well, we had only been a group for a month or so at that point, and we really just had a song that we used as kind of an exercise on how to blend our voices and how to learn to sing together. But Alaska just happened to be going through a budget crisis at that time that was really affecting the university here. And they typically have a big a cappella showcase where they bring in, a big name headliner and it's a fun festival. But they were not able to afford that this year. So I get a phone call from like the event organizer at the university. I was like, hey, I know we met a few months ago. I knew you were starting an a cappella group. Are you interested in headlining this festival? Do you have, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Golden opportunity.
Yeah. Because my idea was like, I would love to headline that festival in like 3 to 5 years. 1 month in, get the phone call. And he was like, hey, do you have a 45-minute show? And then again, mind you, our set at that point was like 2 minutes. And I lied out my mouth and said, absolutely, we do. We will be there. See you in 6 weeks. And so at that point, I think we just were, I was, phoning in favors from friends to help me out with arrangements. And I was arranging as much as I could. And we just kind of put a show together of like just what we could. Mm-hmm. It was more of like necessity more than like, hey, let's really comb through these song choices here. So that was like the first version of our show.
But I mean, a lot of those songs we still use. Like you were good about the ones you picked anyway, because like you saw some of those songs we did on that first show when you saw us. Like,
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
they some of them ended up on the album. Like, you know.
Yeah.
She did that.
Is there anything that you I won't say fight is not the right word, but like if Adriana, you bring up something like, what if we do a Beyonce song? And then Molly, you're like, Beyonce's not right for this. I mean, do you ever have conflict over what to sing where? Or like, I guess, do you do voting do you make decisions by voting? Is it all like, is there a manager that works with you? Because I think you're all still pretty like scrappy and manage yourselves, which I think is so cool.
Young, scrappy, and hungry.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, I think it's not so cut and dry as voting or anything else. I think we've, as far as what songs to sing where, it's a discussion. I have kooky ideas, which often are
like
not
a fourth member.
Good. So I get a lot of outlet from my silly, stupid ideas because we do Tuesdays, which is like a new song every Tuesday we upload. And then it's like a minute or less, usually considerably less. And I get to do some silly stuff. And my favorite month is coming up, Halloween month. We get to do all the silly, stupid things I've thought about all year. Which I'm really excited about. But like, I think so different things for different places. If I wanted to do a Nickelodeon theme song and a country twist, we're going to put it online. We're not going to put it in the set. So I think like there's a balance to it. But yeah, I think most of the song choices for the set are incredibly deliberate. And we're looking for specific things based on, what audiences like to hear, I think is paramount, as it should be. And then like what works for us, what sounds good with us, and then what also kind of, explores new things we want to do. Like, multilingual music is important to us. It's part of what we're passionate about. And so that's definitely coming up more in this next album and more in our shows. So that's something that I think we're adding to as we grow.
That's so cool. Hang on, everybody. We're just going to take a quick break. All right, now we're back. Okay, so tell me that, at least if you haven't done this already, that the Doug theme song is on your radar. Do you remember Doug from Nickelodeon?
Gosh, that's been a minute. No, I haven't. Right? It's not on the radar, but now it is.
How does it go? Oh, yeah.
Remember all that?
Hey, you got the...
Yeah, you got to do Doug. Please, I want to share the crap out of that once you do Doug.
I'll put it on the list. We'll tag you.
Because only 30 seconds. You got to do that. What else was I going to ask you? So when you're choosing what to put where... So I saw you on the Disney Wonder in Alaska. I did Disney cruise, and obviously there were some Disney theme songs in your set as well. And is that one of those things where you already had the music prepared and that was part of the audition? Was it audition for Disney? Like, Disney to me seems like this black box that like no one can crack, and now you've cracked it. And so how did you get in there? And then you're like, all right, we got all this. We'll do Part of Your World. We'll do Under the Sea. We got you.
We had some of the Disney stuff already, because I think the nature of being an a cappella group, you kind of have to throw in some Disney songs in there because just as a people pleaser, the audiences love to hear it. So we had like Everybody Wants to Be a Cat in there already. We've already had some like short, Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, like that kind of stuff that we still perform on stage often. But I think in terms of how we got in with Disney was really just me shooting my shot on LinkedIn and someone just kind of pointing me in the right direction. And I got an email, and they were looking for, it was kind of just right out of the tailgate of COVID. So I don't think, those auditions, like emails were flowing in like that. The cruise industry was still just coming back to life.
Right.
And so it was just, I think the timing was right.
That is cool. And I've heard from others too that they treat LinkedIn like a social media network, and I guess it is a social media network for older people. I guess I don't know, but I need to get on.
Like a social media networking network.
There you go. Yeah. I need to put that out there. I'll start using it. All right, I've said this before. All right, listeners, you're hearing it now. I'm going to be on LinkedIn more. Whatever. Anyway, but you also, I guess the three of you also are, you mentioned multilingual, because you all speak, there's 4 languages spoken between the three of you, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So what?
I'm
what
really
all do you-
dragging us down, I'll be honest.
what all do you speak?
I speak Tagalog and un poquito Español.
I speak Japanese.
I got one. It took me years. It was English. Thank you, guys.
That's so cool.
We make fun of me in the set about it, so
well, you
feels
could
fair.
you could Duolingo it. You got a lot of time on the ships, right? You could learn. What would you want to learn if you could learn, like wave a wand?
Oh gosh!
And you had one language you could learn instantly via the Matrix. Just jack in the back. What would you do?
Instantly?
Yeah.
Gosh. Vietnamese.
Oddly specific. Okay.
What? I mean, I really, so I went to Vietnam this year and I thought it was amazing. The language is so fun sounding.
Really?
Like it's a tonal language, right?
Yeah.
So words that are spelled exactly the same with different tones have so many different meanings, and it seems intricate. And if I don't have to like study and I just learn things instantly, hell yeah.
Yeah. Thai is the same way. I had a job where I had to go to Thailand once. It was the exact same. You're right. One was like a street name. The other was like the biggest cuss word that you could. If you got the street, you're like, yeah.
And it's just if you're going or
Yeah.
I love that. I think
Yep.
it's so cool.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting way to look at it. I guess I look at it as hard, and you look at it as cool. So that's the difference there, which is which is interesting.
Well, I'm having the wish option.
Right. No, I thought you would say
Pretty
something like Italian, or like Spanish is useful in the States very, very often.
Spanish is more useful. We can't add it as a 5th language, though. We can't brag about it because Audrey already knows it. So I gotta pick something Spanish times 2. She claimed it, so I have to pick a different one.
Well, okay, fair enough. Let's see. So aside from the concerts and okay, I won't skip over this because you went from singing in a parking garage and telling Molly you can't have a 4th member. A month later, you get the call. And then, so 5 months after that, you're headlining this festival. And is that what sort of kicked off this international thing? Because, like, cyber-stalking all of you on social for a hot minute, like, it looks like you've literally been all over the world performing and singing and been on multiple cruise ships and all over the place. And this is, like, I thought you had been together a lot longer given the success you've already had. So this has just been, like, up and up every day.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a in the grand scheme of things, a pretty fast journey, I think. And in a way, almost thanks to COVID. Like, I don't know if I can, kind of though, because
we turned it into a positive.
Yeah, I think so. We had that gig and at the end of 2019, and of course, COVID hit and everything was shut down. We took to online, but we found some success online. And I think that's kind of what propelled or continued our
growth exponentially. Yeah. Well, and like it wasn't without some downsides. We had a really amazing opportunity that we were going to go audition for American Music Abroad. We were a finalist, and we were going to go to LA and do the whole final audition. We were very green at the time. We'd been together, like a year? Not even a year. So that got canceled and ended up going virtual, and would have been a virtual opportunity. But we kept auditioning for it. We kept doing it the next year, and it ended up getting in when we were ready for it. So it ended up being a good thing, because at the time, I think we wouldn't have made it. Because those trips are incredible, and you learn so much, but it's demanding, because you just have to be really have a lot of like strength of spirit with yourself and a lot of fortitude. So I think it ended up happening when it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Go ahead.
We auditioned 3 times and didn't get in until the 3rd time. Mm-hmm. So 2022 was the first time we really got in, and 2022, 2023 was when we started traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that's this year.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. That's not. Yeah. Okay. I had to think about what you were in.
We did one trip in 21 at the end.
To California.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, it's been the last 2 years.
That's so cool. And you're just turning this love and this passion into a job, and therefore, in as much as I can say this through my own experience, it seems less like a job because you're enjoying what you're doing, and you get to see all these great things. And my God, like the mental state, the mental health of performers, I would imagine in Alaska versus New York. I don't know, man. Like coming back, I'm in Brooklyn, right? I'm in New York City, and coming back from Alaska, it's my first trip where I saw the three of you. Was my first trip to Alaska ever, and I want to move there, and I think it's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And
Join us.
You won't take a fourth member. I can't join you. And plus I'm a dude. And but no, God, just I remember there was something on your TikTok where you're like, look, it's 2 a.m. and the sun's still up. Yay. Like there's something magical about living there. And I guess were the three of you, we're going to get into childhood in a second because I want to know where this love of singing and performing came from. But have the three of you always been in the Alaska area? And so it's like the nature, the everything, the endless nights and the endless days is all just, it's your normal, which to the rest of us seems so exotic. But that's your normal? You've always been there?
Yes, all three of us were born and raised. And I feel like there are definitely some things that are good about the midnight sun. But then in the wintertime, we do get like less sunlight as well. So yeah, I feel like the summer times balance out our vitamin D deficiency in the wintertime. But it is something that we've grown up with and kind of adapted to. So
yeah, my kids, I mean, all they know is the urban life too. So when they go out and we're in like, suburban, just normal road with trees, they're like, are there wolves? Are there bears? Is there everything? So it's, yeah. I grew up in North Carolina, so I got a best of both worlds, I think, a little bit. But yeah, like it's just absolutely freaking beautiful. But okay, so going back to childhood stuff, I guess, so Adriana, let's just start with you, right? Where did the love for performing, the love for singing, the need to express yourself through this? And I do call it a need, because if you're doing this professionally, as hard as it is to live in the world of art and entertainment, you have to love it. So where did this need come from?
yeah, I mean, when I was little, I feel like that was like the first thing that really captivated me, is using my voice. My parents said that when I was a baby, I cried really freaking loud and, it pierced the ears and stuff. So I feel like it's always just been kind of my normal to be like vocal about things. And on top of that, with, growing up in Alaska, we don't really have that type of community here. And so I think that when I started getting more involved in performing arts in high school, I started to thinking about, maybe I should move out of Alaska and whatnot. And so when I was in college, when Lisa reached out to me, that was kind of the perfect opportunity for me to use singing in a way where it could be a professional sort of, it could be a profession. And then on top of that, do whatever I wanted to do in college. When I first got into college, I tried business computer information systems because it was a 2-year program. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll make hella bank and it'll be a quick little thing. When I did 1 semester of that, I was like, hell no, this is not going to work. You can't go to school for something. I mean, you can, right? But I feel like it's harder for you to want to learn and get through that learning process if it's something that you're not super passionate about. So I told my parents I'm switching to music. And then, COVID hit. I didn't have a senior recital, but Lisa reached out. And then since then, we just really used that opportunity with COVID to hone in on what we can do better together as a group and what we could do better as individuals. So I really thank Pipeline and these two lovely ladies for helping me, continue to push forward and grow and realize like my full potential. So,
were you in school for vocal performance or in a different type of music?
Yeah, I did vocal performance.
And then any love for musical theater in there?
Absolutely. My musical theater love started in high school when I did Little Shop of Horrors.
Ooh, you got to come see the current production. Are you going to come through New York? Is the group coming through New York anytime soon?
Shoo, we want to.
Listen, I think the Disney Wonder is going to be here at the end of October. If you can get on that. Just saying.
I mean, say less.
We'll just hop on.
Isn't that how it works? You're just like, I want these ships and this is where we go?
Unfortunately, it's not like a library card, but if we can, we'll make it out there.
All right, Molly. So then when you came, I guess, yeah, so what's your history performing and singing and getting just as damn good as you are?
I think similar to Audrey, like since forever, it's been a bit of a no-brainer. There's like cassette tape recordings of me and my sister singing, and one of them doesn't want to, so I come back for a second song when there's not that much room on the tape, and like that kind of thing. My parents put me in a choir type thing that I was in for like a decade, and private voice lessons, the whole shebang, as you do growing up. But yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like in college, I didn't want to do music for college. I had other interests also, and I kind of felt like it was almost like the end of the road as far as keeping it as prevalent as it had been in my life at the time. And then ding, got a little Facebook message, and here we are back. And yeah, I couldn't be more happy that it is as central as it is. And yeah.
What would you have done if Lisa hadn't reached out? What do you think you'd be doing now?
At the time, she had no idea what she wanted to do. But I think if I wasn't doing this, I would probably, my degree I had been pursuing was in journalism. But I think if I were to go back, it'd be psychology.
Ooh.
Something like that. I'd be a great therapist. I'm not going to lie.
I got a psych minor. I'm with you.
It's all that intuitive stuff that also, takes a lot of having to do with art as well. Like those two go hand in hand.
I agree with that, actually. I've never had anybody say that before, but once you said that, I completely agree that there is a lot of overlap, especially because being a good friend, being a good therapist, being a good actor is all listening, active listening, being present. And that's really hard for a lot of people, especially when you're just like staring at your device half the time, right?
And especially I think like a lot of music is kind of trying to put into words things that don't necessarily make sense.
Yes.
And that's so much having to do with psychology and feelings. Of course, there is a biological side to it, but outside of that, there's a lot of stuff that's harder to explain and harder to put into words, but are all human experiences, and those work together.
All right. That's perfect. All right, Lisa, you have this need, this waking up passion every morning to sing without instruments. So much so that you call up your friends and you're like, we got to do this as a group. We got to make money and make it a job. Where did that start?
I've always, before I even understood the concept of a cappella, when I was, taking lessons as a kid, I would always imagine like how cool it'd be if we could have a whole band, but it was just voices. That was like before I even understood that concept. And then I went to college and discovered a cappella. It was also around the time that a cappella was really becoming more mainstream. Like the Sing Off had just aired, Pitch Perfect was coming out. Like it was just kind of the timing of it all. It was starting to boom, and I fell in love with it in college, and I wanted to keep doing it on a professional level. I would, travel to different camps and festivals to like try to absorb as much knowledge as I could. And then out of college, I auditioned for a group called Cape Harmony. And so I moved to Cape Cod for a season and was touring over there and was singing with a group of ladies there. And then I worked at a cappella production company called Acapella Productions. And that was based in Buffalo, New York. And I was working there for about a year. And just kind of throughout that time, I absorbed so much knowledge. I mean, I was in a couple of groups in between that time too. But just kind of seeing how different groups work, how different leadership works, what doesn't work. And then having found myself coming back to Alaska, just life circumstances brought me back home. And I was, with all that knowledge, I was like, I feel like I could create a successful group now, having all of these different examples, I guess, to work with. So yeah, that's kind of where my pre-pipeline career had started, and it just, the more I did it, the more it fueled my desire to do this as a professional, not only because I loved it, but also because I felt there was a need for it in the community, not just in Alaska, but in the a cappella community as a whole. It's so full of all male groups.
Yes.
And even if it is a co-ed group, it tends to be 1 or 2 females in the group out of like 5 or 6. So there really wasn't, I felt, a female group out there doing it on the same level that all male groups were. And I kind of wanted to be the change I wanted to see, I guess.
Yes. All the snaps, right?
I know, right? I was like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Hang on, everybody. We're just going to take a quick break. All right, now we're back. It's so incredible, and that's part of why I think I was just attracted to the group as a whole when I first saw you. That when I first on the ship, I was like, oh, what's going on tonight? Oh, a cappella group. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna go just because it's a cappella. And then when I started reading about you, about PvP, it's like, oh, it's local and all women, and they're singing all this great stuff, and it was just. It made so much sense, and I'm so glad that especially so many young people, so many children, especially on these ships, right, are seeing this example of something that they might not ever get to see in any other situation. So again, many snaps and many thank yous as a parent for leading by example. So I think it's really, really admirable.
And I think something to note too that we've noticed in those like meet and greet moments after the show is most of the kids, I would say 70 to 80% of the kids that come up to us are girls. And that feels really, really nice too. That's
cool. Have you gotten any like unusual or just not unusual, but any feedback or comments from parents that stand out with you over the couple of years? Because yeah, like listeners, so after the show, I think all Disney shows do this or whatnot, but like you stand outside the theater, and it's a huge theater. It's like probably 1,000-seat theater, right? In the front of the ship.
Something like that.
And so you stand outside the theater and just meet everybody, meet and greet coming out. And so yeah, the feedback, it's kind of like a ship version of stage dooring. So right. So at the stage door, we'll call it. Is there what stands out to you like as an incredible moment that you've had so far?
I feel like for me, the cute ones are when the parents come out and they like are pushing their kid forward because they're shy, and the kid's like, I sing too. And they're like, yeah, she wants to be a singer when she grows up. And it's just really awesome to feel that, because we were those kids, a few years ago, or not a few, but a lot of years ago. And just to, spark that kind of initial interest in something and make them see that women can do it too, boo. Like, that's so awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so in addition to the performing, which I guess, well, before I ask my next question, the performing stuff, how often are you traveling these days? Like, what's your typical week look like? Because like my cruise was 7 days.
Week's so funny.
Were you on it was what?
Typical week is not a real thing right now. No.
Well, what's your I guess what has the typical month then been since 2023 when you started all the traveling?
Ooh, it comes and goes. I mean, I think this summer we haven't been home more than 2 weeks since March. Like, it's been pretty on the go. And then being week on, week off on the ship is obviously a more consistent thing, but that's coming to an end. And then like this winter is different, and then the spring looks different than winter, and it looks different than summer. It's very, you just have to be really flexible, and that's what we signed up for.
Is the most of your time right now going to ships, or is it on land kind of concerts and festivals and stuff?
The summer has been almost all ships since June to now. We had a big tour in May that we were in the Middle East and Central Asia. And then like in March we were in Hong Kong, but like so it really differs depending on the season. So summer season's great for cruise stuff. This winter actually is looking like pretty sparse right now. We don't know what the winter is going to look like. So after that cruise season ends, we have like a festival here and there, but mostly it's kind of up in the air what the next few months are going to look like.
Do you are you involved with any college festivals or anything like that? I mean, is there even still much of a college a cappella scene? I've been so far removed from it that I don't even know. Like I still know who my favorites are from, my own time 20 years ago, but
Who are they?
the Hullabahoos. Do you know the Hullabahoos? You got to look up the Hullabahoos.
Okay.
Very, very good.
Do they do a Doug cover?
No, they don't. No, I've never heard anyone do a Doug cover, so that's why you have to do it.
That's why we need it.
Yep.
That's why we need it.
Yes, you have to do that. Okay, so the concerts and the travel and whatnot, and you also you do workshops and teaching and jingle writing? Question mark?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
So what are the workshops? How can we book the time for the workshops?
PipelineVocalProject.com for everybody listening. But shameless plug. But no, the workshops, we have a couple workshops that we have done different places. I think it depends. We've done some of them having to do with schools, and then some of them having to do with these longer tours that we're going on. We work with the State Department, and so often those are cultural exchange type trips. So there is a fair amount of performing, but I would say equal, if not more, is the workshops working with usually young people or sometimes even educators on how we do what we do, which with these workshops on those trips, it's really, I think, beneficial because we're going to more remote places where access is different. And so doing something where you have everything you need pre-programmed in as far as a voice is concerned, like the rest of it can be taught. And that's why we're there. That's why we want to go on these types of trips.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was through the State Department. That's actually really important kind of stuff, because you're acting as a representative of Alaska and whatnot to try to and teaching people how to sing and perform. Do you find that you're working with people that are using singing and performing to like work through anxiety and work through any sort of difficulties they're having in their personal lives? Because I know there's so many people who turn to performing in general as a means of therapy almost.
I'm sure that's true. I don't think we've gotten to the point where we've asked. A lot of the times these workshops are kind of, we're on such a limited clock. It's like an hour or two at most. And then we're off. And also, again, these workshops, there's oftentimes a language barrier, and there's a translator who is translating what we are saying in Uzbek or Tajik or whatever country that we're in. And so sometimes we don't get as deep as we would if, we were all speaking the same language. But I think what we see in common is that people are always surprised at what all the voice can do. And they're surprised at how diverse and versatile it is the right word, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, skilled voice actors alone, I mean, singing aside, but people who are skilled at like voice actors get all the work. There's like a handful of voice actors that do all the work because they're just trained to use their voice in a way that nobody else has the practice to be able to do. It's not that people can't, they just got to try. Right. So do you find when you're doing your workshops and when you're doing teaching and whatnot, is it more of like half of you say boots and half of you say cats, and then now we're going to beatbox, right? Or is it more of like a group lesson of vocal technique?
It depends.
Both? Yeah.
It depends. So like, for example, one of the workshops we did was at a music school in Uzbekistan, and Audrey ends up taking it to like a master class type thing, which was amazing because they had clearly like a star student that they were really excited to show us. And so they have her come up, and then it ends up being vocal technique. But in other places, it's more simple than that. And I think we're adaptable to what people are looking for. Like when we did a
a workshop that was all educators, it was so much slower because everybody was like, no, you have this to say. And it was so funny because it's teaching teachers is like herding cats, which was super funny. But like, I think you adapt to what people are interested in and at different skill levels.
That's really cool. I love that. And yes, doctors make the worst patients. Teachers make the worst students. Yeah, absolutely. I want to play, switch gears a little bit and play a little, our version of the Newlywed Game to see if you all...
Oh my God.
to see
I'm
if you
so
all,
excited.
We've been saying this would be so fun.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, let me get something down and I'll just keep score then so you can win bragging rights. Gotta write this down. Okay. Question number, I don't know how I'm going to keep score. Question number 1 then. Who is more likely to forget about doing the laundry?
Molly.
I have so much laundry to do before we leave tomorrow.
All right. Who is most likely to fall asleep during a movie?
Molly.
That's also it's just a thing that happens.
It's uncanny how fast you can fall asleep anywhere. We should start making like a slideshow.
So I used to work as a baker, a professional baker, where I was getting up at 3 a.m. to go to work. So it was a survival technique, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
What?
We got secrets
They're
going
whispering
on.
about
I know,
me
we got
over
secrets
here.
going on.
We were just saying that would be a great TikTok of a slideshow of you just falling asleep anywhere.
So I got that to look forward to.
Yep. And you gotta like sing a song about napping or something, and then set it to that.
Yeah.
Wheels are turning.
Eric
Okay.
Whitaker asleep. Let's do that.
So I have a feeling this is gonna be the same answer, but who's more likely to be late for appointments?
Molly. Oh well.
Sometimes Audrey.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say still likely to be Molly.
I've been so good.
You have.
She has been
You've
good.
been
She's
much
made
better.
progress.
All right.
So maybe this one.
All right. Who's more likely to start singing in public?
I live life to the fullest.
I love it.
It was raining on the boat the other day, and Audrey and I started singing at the top of our lungs, Natasha Bedingfield.
Who is more likely to crack silly jokes in serious situations?
Ooh. It's a tie between you and me, I think.
Yeah. I think silly jokes, that's all you.
Me?
Mine are like dark.
You're right. Probably me.
She's a pun queen.
She's
Yeah.
fun queen.
Oh, I
I
love
feel
a
like
good
she
pun.
always has the dad jokes.
Listen,
Then
Mom,
she laughs at herself like,
No one thinks Lisa's jokes are funnier than Lisa.
text me your jokes, Lisa, because I love a good dad
Oh
joke.
my gosh, I will.
exchange.
Yes.
I just constantly think I'm so glad I have me.
I get told all the time, nobody thinks you're as funny as you do, Alan. Like, yeah, I know. But that only encourages me because I want to crack people up even that much less. I don't know. All right. Last question then in our Newlywed Game. Who's more likely to make silly faces in photos?
Audrey, without a doubt. I have
faces.
so much blackmail.
Oh.
Kind of ridiculous.
Wait till her birthday. It'll all go up online.
There you go. There's payback for the TikTok they're going to give you of falling asleep every night. So I don't know who won. You all agreed on everything pretty much, but
We all won.
But Molly got the most answers, so I guess she has bragging rights of being
forgetful.
I'm sleepy.
Yes, forgetful.
forgetful, sleepy, late, and the singer. And then public singer. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
You're a catch.
You're the winner.
Stop.
There's one TikTok I was watching that you did. It was like the red flags video. One of them was like eats fruit. Like I eat fruit, so that's or yeah, you eat fruit, so that's a red flag. I'm like, no, that's not. That's weird, but that was a funny video.
That's green.
Yeah, right. It's good. All right, so I do have 3 standard closing questions I ask everyone to wrap up the episodes, and so we'll go one by one, and just real quick, whatever comes to mind first. We'll start with Audrey. We'll start with you with the first one. Just what motivates you?
I feel like what motivates me, well, I think what is most important to me as far as being brought to this world is leaving a mark on people, whether that's inspiring them, whether that's helping them, whether that's making them feel better if they're having a bad day, is just leaving an imprint on people. And I think that singing is a great way of being able to do that for people.
All right, Molly.
Oh, what inspires me?
Yeah.
In terms of this, and I think everything else is making the best stuff I can. I think however A to B happens is kind of unimportant, but like just making good shit.
Making good shit. You get that tattooed on your butt. I like that.
Simple, girl.
Yeah. All right, Lisa, what motivates you?
I think what motivates me is creating a platform for the things that I care about. And if there's not an opportunity for that, creating it, kind of like what motivated me to create this type of group in particular. Like putting those things I care about on the map so more people are aware or seeing them, and I can create joy through those things.
Love it. All right. Adriana, I know I've been calling you Audrey. Were they calling you Audrey? Do you go by both names, or did I just fuck up your name?
Nope, you're all good. Everybody fucks it up. It's so funny.
But it's Adriana, so I can go back and dub in Adriana, not Audrey. I'm sorry. I was like, wait,
either way.
Wait, but that's not.
I
But
didn't
that's
know her
not.
name was Adriana for 2 years.
But wait, that's not your real name though, right? Like you go by Adriana. I remember something when you introduced yourself. You're like,
It's Audrey. You're right.
It is Audrey?
So my real name is Adriana. Audrey is like a stage name.
Okay, right. Because I knew, okay, cool.
Nickname.
Nickname. All right, so I won't go there. I was like, Adriana's not hard to say, but I thought there was something harder to say. Okay, anyway.
I mean, Molly just called her Ad, so.
Ad?
Ad is a nickname.
Ad, yeah, Addie. Okay, so we'll go back to, we'll start with Lisa on this one. What advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now starting out down a similar path?
Oh, no. Okay. What? It's gonna be cheesy in nature because that's who I am. So the younger me would have wanted to hear something cheesy and inspirational. Like the whole "if you can dream it, you can do it." I really do think that's true. If you have a will, there's a way. As long as you're insane enough to do it, you can.
There you go, Molly.
I think my younger self would have wanted to know that the universe is unfolding as it should, and like you're where you're supposed to be, and it's gonna work out.
I like that. There's a deeper story there. There's a deeper story there. That's a whole other episode. We can do part 2 sometime. All right, Audrey.
Younger self. Well,
Spill the beans.
I feel like I would tell my younger self to do more things that make me scared.
Ooh.
Because when you are doing things that make you scared, you are not only getting over that fear, you're pushing yourself to grow.
Yes. I've heard that a lot on this podcast relating to that question is if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, who haven't we started with? Lisa, right? Molly. Molly. Okay, Molly. Hardest question now. Last one. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
Show is, how do we define show?
You define it
musical?
You define it as you want. I leave this open-ended and hard.
I'm a big show girl. One show.
One show, that's it. You're on a deserted island. You have power.
Fleabag.
Fleabag.
I've seen it so many times and it's still excellent.
All right, fair. That works. Okay, Lisa, what's your answer?
Like TV show or like theater show?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Oh my god. Okay.
She's really stressed about this. This isn't real. This is only hypothetical.
You're good. Yeah. I have so many different categories in my mind, but I think I did watch this show, like this as the only show that I watched for like 3 years. So I feel like I can confidently say How I Met Your Mother.
Nice. Okay. Audrey.
I don't know.
You've had so much time to think about it.
I know. All right.
Is it helpful to narrow it down to a musical theater category?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I would say Little Shop of Horrors because it's nostalgic for me and there's good music.
Yeah, it was a touchstone for a lot of people. My answer is Rent, because that was the show that made me realize that style of singing belonged on that medium of stage.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah,
it
that was my
fits.
favorite.
It fits. So, of course, pipelinevocalproject.com. Where else can we find the three of you on the social medias?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all at Pipeline Vocal Project.
Noise. And then from there, you're linked out to your personal accounts too, which is out there as well. I'm at thetheaterpodcast.com. I'm on Threads, Instagram, Facebook at theater_podcast, and Pipeline Vocal Project, PVP. Thank you so much. The three of you have been such a delight to chat with. And if you can just, use your library card, get on the Wonder, come here to New York at the end of October when I know it's going to be here because we're already looking at that cruise. Then let me know. Let's hang out.
Okay, well, when you move to Alaska, you let us know.
Yeah, hit us up on Threads.
I come visit again. I will definitely come visit. All right, thank you all so much.
Thank you for having us.